Yeah, grew up in Northwest Indiana in the Glen Park neighborhood of Gary. Went to St. Mark's grade school, went to Andrean High School, graduated from college from Indiana University Northwest in Gary. So obviously have very deep roots in Northwest Indiana. Grew up in a political household, and so history being my favorite subject and current events being talked about at dinner every night of my life growing up, there was a certain awareness that you could watch the world go by or you could participate in events. And certainly had a household where my parents instilled in my sisters and myself that, listen, you've had every advantage in life. You ought to, one, find something you like doing, but hopefully give something back. And we have just terrific people in Northwest Indiana. They're very hard working, they're very plain spoken, and we've had a very tough time economically since the 1970s. So I have always viewed my position as trying to bring people together and look at how we can invest in our economy and create some new opportunities, especially for the young people who are growing up in the area. As far as people not getting along in Northwest Indiana, I think that unfortunately perception is lagging reality. One of the examples I have used is in October of 2003. The mayors of the 5 cities along the lakeshore from Portage to Whiting signed an interlocal agreement for the Marquette Plan to begin to recapture the Lake Michigan shoreline. Today in 2010, all 5 mayors of those cities are different than they were in 2003, but they remain committed to that interlocal agreement. And Mayor Velazquez has followed on with the initiative Mayor Olson had in Portage, for example, and you now have an incredible resource with the Lakeshore Park. That's just one example of people getting along. You had community leaders, including Mayor Casas in Valparaiso, come to an agreement, 12 communities, 2 counties, to help fund a study about the extension of the South Shoreline. No issue locally is without controversy, but again, you had 2 counties and 12 communities come together and say, we should at least study this issue to see if we can make an improvement in lives of the people we represent. If something good happens in a community, that's not hurtful to someone else, it's a positive for the region. So it's that line of enjoying that distinct uniqueness, but not thinking that if you're not part of that one community, you don't matter, or what happens somewhere else does not matter as well. One of the great unique gifts I think that Valpo has as a community is the university that is here. In looking ahead to, again, keeping talented people and attracting good jobs in the future, it is going to be that university, college, educational center. So people, I think, have to recognize the respect that people nationally have for Valparaiso University. One of the other attributes that you have here in the city is the mayor has been very aggressive, again, in reaching across party lines and working with the university to try to get synergies as far as making other things happen. One of those prospectively is to have South Shore service ultimately extended out into the Valparaiso community. I must tell you, I use Valparaiso and Munster in particular as examples of cities and leaders, including Mayor Casas, who have planned for the future to maximize not just a train stop, but how can we, again, improve the quality of life and attract new investment and new job opportunities in and around those stations so we can intelligently grow the community. Well, we have great opportunities for all of our problems, so people forget that we are on the largest body of fresh water on the planet Earth. And every day, Lake Michigan and the Great Lakes are worth more to us. If you want to move freight across the United States of America, you have to go through Porter County and Lake County, Indiana, to get around the Great Lakes of the United States. We're the environs of Chicago. Chicago's economy is larger than the economy of Switzerland or Russia's. And so there are built-in advantages, and we ought to then build on those. But again, in any community, there are a lot of people out there doing good work. There are a lot of very positive things going on. And I think too often people do only get a negative focus and do start feeling bad about themselves and their communities, and that there is no hope and nobody is trying and we're not going to make progress. And it tends to be a self-fulfilling prophecy in some cases, where it discourages people from volunteering in groups, service clubs, Rotaries, Kiwanis, making a change, helping somebody out. And so to the extent your station can do that and bring people together and highlight activities and encourage people to participate, is filling a huge void that's very necessary to be filled. But probably the greatest lesson my dad taught me is, after he was mayor of Gary, he went back to the Gary Career Center to brush up on his welding, because that's what he started out doing with the iron workers, and went back and iron worked. And his point was, there's a lot of honest, hardworking occupations, and you support your family, and every job's important. But after that, again, the values that were instilled is, you've got to find that thing you like. But remember, whatever it is, you've got to give something back. And hopefully it will be a generation process in the Visclosky household, because I have two sons who are 23 and 19. Fortunately, they're in very good health, but have again told them, if you find that thing you like and you love to do, you may have a bad day once in a while, but you'll never have to work for a living, because it will be an adventure and just give something back. And I must tell you that the privilege I've had representing the people of Northwest Indiana in Congress is an incredible privilege. It's a trust I've been given, and just consider myself the luckiest person in the world.